What's going on, Slay Baes? It's Ashley and welcome back to my channel. I'm doing a foundation wear test, but I'm not just testing out a foundation in today's video. I will be testing out a concealer, a setting powder, and also a setting spray. I will be talking about the brand new line that Makeup Revolution just dropped. This is the Conceal and Hydrate foundation. I have their concealer. I have the highly anticipated Conceal and Fix powder. You guys, I am so incredibly excited about this powder right here because it's talc free, it has no flashback, and it's supposed to be water resistant. So we're gonna put it all to the test today. I'm gonna give you guys all the deets. Y'all already know how it goes here on this channel. So if you're about it, if you're excited, don't forget to press the subscribe button because it's free. Also, if you're breathing, don't forget to click that little bell so that way YouTube will notify you anytime I upload, which is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With that, I'm gonna cut the small talk short because we have a lot of things to get through in today's video. Let's go ahead and get into it. So I zoomed you in super up close and personal so that we can see all my pores, all my blemishes. I will definitely say my skin is in a really good place right now. I do have the occasional breakout like here and here, but for the most part, feeling good, looking good. I do quickly want to touch on my skin type because I know some of you out there may be new. I do have very normal skin. I get oily slightly in my T-zone, but honestly, for the most part, I feel like that is pretty normal. When you're wearing a foundation for a long period of time, normally your T-zone is the first area to get oily. So very, very normal skin all the way throughout. I also have acne prone skin, but I wouldn't say my skin is sensitive. I do just get very hormonal acne right here in this area. With that being said, I do want to jump into the brand new foundation. So this right here is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Hydrate Foundation. This foundation is a Radiance foundation made with hyaluronic acid. What that means is that it is going to add nice moisture to the skin. So it's going to make your skin look very smooth and plump and just give it enough moisture so that way it doesn't cling on to any dry spots. So ideally, this foundation is going to be perfect for those of you out there who have very dry skin. If you have normal skin, you guys already know we can go one of which way. We can do very hydrating and we can also do a very mattifying foundation. Now, for oily skin, I'm gonna wear this foundation for a period of time. If I do feel like my skin just looks very, very dewy and very overly luminous at the end of the day, then I probably would say I would stray away from this, but I'll touch on that at the very, very end of the video. I do wanna jump into pricing. This foundation right here does retail for $12. It comes with 50 shades, which is awesome for Makeup Revolution, and honestly, very, very awesome for an affordably priced brand. I feel like right now, a lot of brands are really trying to up their foundation shades since Fenty did set the bar so high, and I think that's incredible. One other thing I wanted to point out as it relates to this foundation is that it comes with a pump. You guys know the Conceal and Define foundation does come with that doe foot applicator. For me personally, I don't feel like that is very, very sanitary because I do have acne prone skin. So it's kind of like taking a really big concealer and just rubbing it all over your face, and you have to think when you're doing that and you're rubbing it over acne and then dipping it back into the jar, you're cross-contaminating the product. So it just wasn't sanitary for me since I do have very acne prone skin. If you don't struggle with acne, then you may have not seen the big deal with it, but I'm really, really glad that they did switch to a pump. Now let's talk swatches. I do have 9 different foundation shades in front of me that I can swatch on my arm for you just for shade comparison. I will be putting 4 on my face just to find my perfect match. So I have shade 5, 5.7, 5.6, and shade 7. So what I like to do is I just like to take a brush. Any brush will do, but preferably I do like to use a brush like this. This is a Sephora number 47 Pro brush. This is honestly my favorite brush of all time. I really, really love it. The first shade I'm going to pick up is shade F5. The next shade I'm going to swatch is F5.7. Closest to my mouth, I'm swatching F6. And the last shade I'm going to swatch is F7. So now that I have all the foundation swatch on my face, I definitely feel like I know which one I'm gonna pick. I wanna know which one you guys would pick at home though. Would you pick 5, f.7, 6, or 7? For me personally, I feel like 7 would be pretty decent, but honestly, with my studio lights, I definitely feel like this one is just a little bit too pink. It doesn't pick up on camera. I feel like the one that's gonna be my perfect match is this one right here, f5.7. So I'm gonna wipe off the swatches and we're gonna roll with f5.7. Before we get into foundation application, I definitely wanna prime the skin. So I will be using the Dew Primer by e.l.f. This is from their Jelly Pop collection. Honestly, I've had this primer on repeat since I picked it up and I tried it out. It is literally so good. I definitely believe it is a spot on dupe for the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip primer. This is going to allow the foundation to really stick to the skin, and it's just going to give you a really nice, smooth, and even canvas before foundation. Now, if you guys want to double prime, you definitely can. I'm really big on double priming, especially for my skin type. I do have just some uneven skin texture in this area right here, so I'm gonna go in with a little bit of the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This right here is also a spot on dupe for the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. So I'm just gonna stick it in this area to just smooth out the skin a little bit. Now that I'm nice and primed, I am going to go in with a little bit of the foundation. This is f5.7. This is a shade I color match myself to, and I'm just going to put it on the back of my mixing palette. I do just want to show you how fluid the foundation is, just sliding down. It's not too runny, but it's also not too thick either. I feel like it is the perfect like in-between consistency. Now for me personally, I do like to just take a little bit of the foundation on my finger and I'll just stipple it onto my face. And then I'll start buffing and blending it out with a sponge. The sponge I'm using for this step is by e.l.f. It's the one with like all of the porous holes in it. You guys, this sponge is incredible. So this foundation is said to be very medium to full coverage, which is something I like. I feel like I'm an all or nothing type of girl. Like I rather just do full on coverage and light coverage, but there are some days where I do like more of a natural finish. But if I'm wearing eyeshadow and lashes and things like that, I'm definitely doing like full on coverage. So I like that this foundation has really good coverage to it. So it's going to be perfect for people out there like myself who have acne scarring, blemishes, hyperpigmentation, sunspots, all of that. Okay, so this is about one layer of the foundation on my skin. You can definitely still see some of my blemishes peeking through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mixing palette. I'm just going to dip my sponge into the product. And I'm going to add on an additional layer. So I did a little bit more of a closer zoom just so that way you can kind of see what it looks like sitting on top of my skin. Honestly, it looks pretty good. You still can see some of my sunspots peeking through, but honestly, there isn't a foundation out there that covers up my sunspots completely. So I'm not even really fazed by that, but I will definitely say I feel like the coverage is really beautiful. I also feel like this shade is a really awesome match to my neck. So if you use my shades as comparison, I definitely feel like 5.7, f5.7 is a really awesome match. Now for my right side, I will be using a brush. I will be using this brush right here, which is a Pro number 47 brush by Sephora Collection. Literally my all-time favorite brush for applying foundation. I used this on a few clients when I did bridal makeup the other day, and their foundation looked incredible. I will say this is going on super full coverage too. I'm just gonna go in with my sponge on the side that I use the brush just to get them all to look like the same. I don't know what it is, I just feel like I like a sponge finish a lot better, but for the purpose of using a brush, I do really like this one, which is the Pro number 47. Again, I do use this for freelancing and the makeup comes out incredible just because I don't really feel like sponges are sanitary like on clients and stuff. So that's like my favorite brush for foundation. Now that I have that all blended out, I do want to jump into the concealers. Now they do also have 50 shades of concealer. They have the coordinating shades for the foundation, which is really cool. For me personally, I do like to kind of change up my concealer shade. I don't like it to match my foundation perfectly. So I am going to go in with the shade C6 for the sake of shades, I am going to swatch all 9 shades that I have on my arm just so that way you could see shade comparisons. But again, they are coordinating shades to the foundations. The concealer does retail for $10 and it's also the Conceal and Hydrate Hyaluronic Radiant concealer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of this underneath my eye, and it is that same doe foot applicator. It's very, very big, very comparable to Tarte Shape Tape. I am going to take a sponge, I'm going to look up, and I'm going to buff and blend it out. I'm also going to take a little bit of that concealer on top of my eyelids because I am going to film a separate eye look for Instagram TV later today. Very comparable to the Conceal and Define. I do feel like it is a little bit more hydrating underneath the eyes, but again, I will definitely keep you guys updated throughout the day. I'm gonna go in with just a little bit more of the concealer C6 right down the center to draw forth light. All right, so now that I have the concealer nice and blended out, I do want to test it for flash. So I'm going to go to my camera and take a picture with the back camera and make sure the flash is on, just because I want to make sure the foundation doesn't have any flashback before I actually go in with their powder, which is a new powder that's said to have absolutely no flashback to it. Okay, so the foundation right here doesn't look like it has any flashback whatsoever. The concealer is also looking really, really good. So let's actually talk about their powder for a second. They did just launch 10 different loose powders, which are called their Conceal and Fix powders. I think it's awesome that they came out with 10 different shades, so that way there's a shade for every single complexion across the board, so kudos to that. This product right here does retail for $11. It's talc free. You guys know I've been looking for a powder that's talc free in the drugstore, or more of an affordable powder for that matter, so I'm really excited about that. It's also said to have absolutely no flashback and be water resistant, but of course I'm going to put it all to the test today. When you open it up, I do want to show you the packaging just because it's kind of strange. There's a mirror right here when you open it up, and the powder just kind of gets all over the mirror, and then you have the powder right in here. I'm not like the biggest fan of the packaging. I feel like it's very messy. I feel like there's really no point of having that mirror right there because you can't even really see with all the powder kind of sitting right up there at the top. But again, that's just my opinion. I'm gonna take my sponge, dip it into the powder, and use it to set directly underneath my eyes. All right, so I will definitely say that I feel like the powder set it down really, really nicely. It looks very, very smooth. The powder is very finely milled, so it doesn't look chunky or cakey or anything like that. So looking at myself in the viewfinder, I just look busted and crusted. Like, look at my eyelids. Luckily, this video is not about my eyelids. It's more so about how the foundation and how it wears and stuff like that. What I want to do before anything, I want to test the loose powder for flash. So I am going to simply turn on the flash. I'm going to use the back camera and see if in fact it is free of flashback. Okay, so I will definitely say the foundation has absolutely no flashback. The powder has no flashback. It does look very, very dewy and glowy underneath my eyes, which is something I'm not really used to. I feel like looking in the monitor, like it looks very, very bright. So it does in fact brighten underneath the eyes. It does have a sheen to it. So I definitely feel like it will kind of, you know, draw attention to any of your pores or texture or anything like that. So if you're not really into that, I definitely don't feel like this powder is going to be your favorite. But besides that, I'm going to finish off the rest of my face. We'll come back, we'll set it down with a little bit of their new setting spray, and then we'll talk about it. So I'm back with a full face of makeup. I did my eyes, liner, lashes, and I set down my face with a little bit of powder. I just used a little bit of the Stay Matte But Not Flat powder by NYX, but not too much. I will definitely say now that I have my entire face on, I'm not hating the loose powder underneath my eyes as much as I was when I first applied it. I now want to go in with a little bit of this. This is their brand new Hydrate and Fix Radiance Makeup Fixing Spray. It says long wear oil control, and it also has hyaluronic acid in it. So I'm gonna give it a good shake, spritz my face, and we'll go from there. All right, you guys, so my face is nice and set. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wear this makeup throughout the day, and then I'm gonna come back at the end of the night to show you guys just how well my makeup held up throughout the day. So let's talk wear test. It has been about 9 hours since the last time I spoke to you, and this is what my foundation is looking like. This is how the powder wore. Honestly, I'm not even mad at it. I feel like my face looks very radiant, dewy, glowy, and hydrated. It doesn't look overly oily. Granted, I can be a little bit more mattified down my T-zone, but it doesn't look like too much oil. It doesn't look excessive or anything like that. I'm really happy with the way the foundation wore. It didn't break up in any area of my face, which is so crazy to even think about. My lip color is completely gone. I didn't touch up my lip color at all. I actually didn't touch up any of my makeup throughout the day because I really wanted to give you guys an accurate review of how the foundation wore without any touch-ups whatsoever. So this is 9 hours of wear right here. I am really happy. But one thing I want to do before I go is do a flash test in the dark with all of my studio lights off, so that way you can see just how well the foundation held up. All right, here we go. Okay, so let's actually talk about this flash test. I will say it doesn't look too bad. I will say when the lights are completely off with flash, I do look slightly oily, but the foundation did not break up in any area. As you can see around my mouth, it is like worn off a little bit, but that's because I kind of wiped off my lip color and a little bit of the foundation wiped off in the process. But for the most part, the rest of the face looks really good. I don't have any flashback whatsoever. It does look a little bit more shiny in the dark. As you can see, I have some hot spots right here on my forehead, down my nose, and on my chin as well. Those are areas that tend to get oily very quickly on me throughout the day. So I feel like one way I can kind of combat those oils is to go in with a little bit of powder down my T-zone and I'll be good to go. I do really like the foundation. I'm going to continue to wear the foundation in future videos, and if anything changes, I'll be sure to update the description box down below. If you guys have tried out this foundation, or if you guys want to try it out, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. And I don't have much else to say except thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I'll be sure to catch you guys all on the next one. Deuces.